Okay, good evening, everyone. I believe that you are great. I believe that you're fine. Tell your friends, tell people around you. Let them know that we are live. Let me also inform the community that we are live now. So today we'll be talking about staying ahead in times of disruptions. Now, these are season disruptions are happening everywhere, and we need to know what it is and how to how to really prepare for disruptions. Now, disruptions are not things that you can avoid. They are always happening, right? The advent of calculator brought disruptions to how we calculate, how we do math. In fact, I read that in history, when calculator was introduced to mainstream academics, that some mathematics teacher protested and said that this thing is going to make students lazy. So we should not have calculator. But looking back now, it looks funny, right? But there was a time in history when that was like that. When machines were introduced, many things that were done manually were taken over by machines, and now those people lose their jobs, and of course they will protest. This thing is taking over our jobs. I was just thinking about it one day. I said, imagine the time when we don't have tractors, and how people work was to take people to the farm. Of course, we still do that now, but just imagine that a farmland where we would normally need maybe 1,000 people, maybe 2,000 people to clear a lot of hectares of land and acres of land, and suddenly we have tractors, and with one or two tractors you can do the work of 1,000 people and fewer hours and fewer cost. And of course, people began to go for tractor rather than using manual labor to clear the land, to build ridges and all of those things. People started using a lot of machines. And suddenly, 1,000 people that you needed, now you need just one person or two people to drive the tractor and maybe another person to supervise and stuff like that. Just few people needed. And because of five tractors, like 5,000 people can lose their jobs, just like that. So it is not just happening because we have AI. It has always happened. It is always happening. So we always have disruptions. We always have disruptions, right? So because of disruptions, many jobs will be lost. And because of disruptions, many jobs will be created. So it's always like that whenever we have disruptions. And in a world where we have disruption, so it is you can't just build based on your relevance. Is not based on your job or your degree or your platform. Your relevance is built on capacity, is built based on capacity that you have, having capacity that can travel time, travel location, and travel distance, travel travel. So you're not just going to build capacity to be relevant for a season, to be relevant to for an industry. You have to build capacity that is relevant across industries. So now let's imagine a few things. Now imagine some jobs that exist today that don't exist 20 years ago or even 5 years ago. And imagine some jobs that will exist in the next 5 years that don't currently exist today. So are you building for the jobs of yesterday, or you are building for the job of the future? Now, and even for our university courses, now there are some university courses that are currently relevant, but will not be relevant in the next 20 years. That's just the truth. But you need to understand these things. And it's not even about studying that course or not studying the course. It's about understanding change and how to prepare for it. And in the same vein, there are some businesses that would disappear rather, because they fail to adapt to change. So change is a constant. Change will always happen. So whether is another thing, and that's exactly what we're going to be discussing today. Many people, many industries, we experience a lot of disruptions. It's already going on. I was watching a video recently on how a particular guy in the media is into photography and videography was talking about a lot of disruptions that are already happening in that space, and how many people need to prepare themselves for it. Of course, some people are still arguing in the comment section, as expected. People are always arguing about change, especially when we are resistant to change. But we have to look ourselves in the eye and see. this relevant, and some platforms will also lose relevance. I'm going to one guy that told me that he's a YouTuber. I said, what do you want to do? There was network issue. Okay, so for definition of term, how do we define disruption? Now, I define disruption as any significant change or any significant shift that changes how we live, how we work, how we have fun, how we consume products, how we consume information. A significant shift that changes how we work, how we learn, how we interact with each other, how we play, how we have fun, and how we receive and consume products and information. That is a disruption. But the point is that, are you prepared for disruptions? Now, I have what I call a for life on a particular, maybe a particular platform. So I told him that if you build your life on YouTube, just like I said earlier, what if YouTube change name? What if there is change in algorithm? So what algorithm was favoring before? What if YouTube as a platform disappear and we now have another platform? What if? So you're going to build your career on something like that. I even told him, I said, it's better you see yourself as a content creator, and game is one of the creates. Maybe you can get to the point where you even create more stuff. You can evolve into something else. But seeing yourself as a YouTuber, it's I don't think it's a wise idea. And today we have a lot of people who say I'm a TikTok influencer. What's the meaning of that? I'm a TikTok influencer. What else? What else? I'm an Instagram influencer. What's the meaning of that? Somebody is building their whole career on a particular platform. Platform comes and goes. No matter how interesting a platform can be, there are disruptions. There are disruptions that can change what they do. It's better you see yourself as someone that creates valuable content, and whatever platform is available is what you use to disseminate your information, right? And you can even build your platform yourself. So why can't you create your own? You understand? And if, even if you don't want to create your own, you must see yourself as a value creator that uses those platforms to express yourself. That's the way it is. So I call it four-layer framework. And layer one is the platform, right? So the platform that you are using. Or okay, let me take it the reverse. The first layer is, let me take it as, the first layer is the foundational capabilities. So before you talk about your profession, your field, let's talk about some foundational capabilities. They include soft skills, they include transferable skills, skills that are relevant across industries. And you have things like communication skills, you have things like critical thinking skills, you have leadership skills, right? Anywhere you find yourself, leadership skill is always relevant. Creativity skill, ability to make research, ability to understand the market, right? Whether you are a career person or a business person, understanding the market is a transferable skill, right? And problem solving skills, those are transferable skills. If you find yourself in career A or business A and you move to business B, all of those skills are still relevant. So we call them foundational skills or transferable skills. So that's the first layer. The second layer is now where you talk about your discipline, your profession, or your area of interest, right? So maybe like that person, I'm a content creator, I'm an engineer, I'm an accountant, I'm an economist, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a consultant, I'm a lawyer, I'm a medical doctor. That is now like the professional or the area of interest, the layer, right? And of course, even if you transition between profession, your foundation skills are still relevant. That's why we call them foundation. Irrespective of where you're going to, you need soft skills. Whether you're doing business, you need problem solving. You're going to have problems. Whether you are a marketer or you are an accountant or you're an engineer, you need to know how to solve problems. So there are relevant skills across board. The third layer is now the industry layer. the industry layer. So that's where you have things like media, finance, maybe agri, tech, education, right? Energy sector, public sector, finance industry. So those are industry layer. Some people also niche themselves and really put themselves in a particular box of industry. What if there's a major disruption in that industry? What if your your passion, your interest evolve and you find out that I think I'll prefer another industry, but you've niched down. And then the fourth layer is now the sub niche, the niche area. For example, in the finance industry, we have so in education, we would have various level of education. We have early childhood educator. We have those that teach secondary schools and primary schools. We have those that teach university. We have those that teach vocational skills, right? So they're all educators. And for example, media space, you have various levels of to media. We have the video, you have the writing, you have content, and you also have platforms like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and stuff like that. So you can't really box yourself to a platform, a sub niche, or an industry. Why that is not bad, your foundation must be I have foundational skills that are relevant, even if anything happens to my industry. If there's a major disruption in my industry, or if there's a major disruption in my profession, I have foundational skills that I can take from one place to another. So let's say someone is an engineer and the person wants to go into entrepreneurship, or the person wants to go into marketing, or the person wants to, or someone is an accountant and the person wants to go into maybe data analysis or something. You know that they have a lot of transferable skills that are still relevant in that space. So that's why transferable skills are critical and important. And the second layer is now your profession, the third layer is your industry, and the fourth layer is your niche market or the platform where you're expressing yourself. Now, that reminds me of another person that I was speaking to, and he was seeking admission to the university. And I asked him that, what do you want to study in the university? And I know he's in the business and the social science space. And he said that he wants to study marine economics. Marine economics. I said, that's a fantastic course. That's a fantastic course. But I have a problem with that. You are niching down, you are specializing at undergraduate level. I said, I don't really advise you to do that. And I asked him, I said, why not study economics rather than marine economics? And he said, he loves the marine and he has always loved to work in marine and he wants to really stay at that. I said, ah, I would advise you to study economics. Now, studying marine economics limits you to marine alone. I said, what if you do economics and then you do maybe a particular course, right? Maybe you do a particular course in marine and then you find yourself in the marine. So you can take a professional course in marine, you can take a certification in marine space. But the fact that you're an economist means that even if you find yourself outside marine, because economists are needed across various fields, you can find yourself in education, you can find yourself in policy governance, you can find yourself in various industries, engineering, energy, right, the finance industry. But when you study marine economics, it limits you to marine. It is harder for you to move outside marine if for any reason there's a disruption in that space, or your interest evolve into something else. It will be tougher for you. I said you can do that niching maybe at master's level, at PhD level, or maybe when you begin to get professional certification. But as your first degree, doing marine economics is too much of a niching. And there are some other courses that I think that they are too specialized at undergraduate level. So I just advised him that I don't think you should study marine economics. As good as that course is, study economics, then take a professional certification, take a course, take a training in the marine space. In that way, you have the best of both worlds. So if for any reason you need to leave the marine space, you still have a lot of advantage as against if you had studied marine economics. So that's what I told him, that a lot of things are changing. So it is always better you don't niche too early, so that you find yourself in a lot of in a lot of options. And again, there is also what we call multi-skilled, right? So you need to be multi-skilled. There are some jobs before that this person is the one doing this person is the one doing that. And now we have a lot of job descriptions where you see that the job of one, two, three, four people are brought down into one job, right? So for you to be able to do many things is an advantage, and that's why transferable skills are important. So I'm going to look at three major disruptions that are happening and how we can position ourselves, how we can stay ahead of it. The first one is obvious: technological disruptions. Technology is changing almost everything about our life. It's changing how we live, how we work, how we pass information. For example, maybe several years ago, for you to pass an information, you have to do post office, you have to send letter, and it can get to them maybe some weeks or some months. Now it's just real time. It's a matter of just picking your phone and reaching out to them immediately. So how we pass information, how we consume information. For you to hear about latest news, you need to get a newspaper, or you need to hear it from someone. Now it's about just going online and checking maybe TikTok, or checking Facebook, or checking Google, or even asking AI, what are the latest things that are happening in Nigeria, or happening in South Africa, happening in Japan, and you can get those information in real time. Or you go on X, Twitter, and you find a lot of things trending. So you can know what is happening in real time. You can know what is happening in real time. Those things were not possible before. So how we live, how we play, right? So some of the things that now you can see someone holding phone and just smiling, and the person, and you're wondering why are you smiling alone? They are probably maybe talking to someone, or they are watching a particular video, or they are reading something online, and they find it funny. And so even how we have fun is changing. So you have people say things like, I'm bored, right? Now people just stay on their phone. As much as I really encourage people to have a life outside phone, but we understand that technology is changing the way people have fun. So technological disruption is the first major one. You hear things like artificial intelligence, robotics, right? Automation, digital systems, many things that we do before, now they are being digitalized and they can easily be done. So now, if AI is doing many things that we used to do before, so if AI can do what you do, so what will be left? What will be left? But as humans, we have some advantage. For example, judgment. In every AI platform I use today, they will always put a caveat. AI can make mistake. Always confirm, right? Because they don't want you to hold them responsible for your final decision. And you maybe you make a decision based on an information you see on maybe AI, maybe ChatGPT or Gemini or Grok or DeepSeek or Perplexity, and eventually you find out that that information is fake or is wrong, and you now want to sue them and say you misled me. They put that caveat there, always confirm. So that judgment, at the end of the day, you still make your final decision by yourself. So emotional intelligence is something that AI don't have. While AI is improving on how to understand people and all that, but humans still have that advantage of emotional intelligence. Leadership, you need a real human to lead, right? In terms of doing tasks, AI can do the task. But when you have to do with core leadership that has to do with decision making, you still need humans to do that. Ethics, we have a lot of issues around ethics when it has to do with technology. So humans will still need to look at it and put some boundaries in place in how we use some of these things. Creativity, like I said, AI is getting sharper, but humans still has that advantage of being creative, and we can bring that to the board because most of the things that AI is even using, they are data that have been fed to AI based on what humans have created. And of course, vision, ability to imagine the future that doesn't exist and create it. That's something that exists with humans. That's something that exists with humans. So, and it's always important for us to understand those things. So always always understand that not just AI now, technology generally will always make some jobs obsolete, but it will also create some more jobs. It will also create some more jobs, and you must be ready for that, right? So that's the first disruptions, technological disruptions. I have never been concerned that AI is going to replace me. As how now, as how now, just like we see now, the way I see it is that AI will make my job more effective. AI will make life easier. Of course, we need to put some boundaries in place in terms of ethics and governance so that AI will not be misused by people that have bad intention, because AI is going to amplify our ability to do what we want to do. If you want to do good, AI is going to amplify it. If you want to do bad, technology will help you to amplify it. So we need to put some boundaries in place to ensure that things are done right. But for me, I see it as a tool that will make my life easier. Some things I couldn't do before, now I can do them easily. Some things that I needed maybe some 3, 4 days to do them, now I can do them in a matter of just a few hours. And that is good. But I will always ask myself, what can I do that AI cannot do? So let's say I'm just giving an hypothetical example. So let's say I have 20 skills and AI has taken over 12 of them. I still have 8 skills, or I have 8 capacities or 8 abilities that AI cannot replace. And that gives me an advantage. So for the remaining 12, I will use AI to get better. I will use AI to get results faster. But for those 8, I know that this is an area that I have. Now, because I know that technology is advancing, it's possible that some of those 8 will also be taken over in the next maybe couple of months or couple of years. That's why I also keep evolving. I also keep building. So from 20, I can build it to 28. I can build it to 32. So even when AI can now do the many 8 that that it couldn't do before, that was my advantage. Now I have 12 more skills that probably AI cannot do. So I always ask myself, what can I do? What can I learn to do that AI can currently not do? So at the end of the day, I will always find a way to be ahead of artificial intelligence. So, because of this kind of thinking, because of this kind of understanding, I am not moved. Today, now, I know my area of strength, I know my area of advantage, I know things that I can do that AI cannot do or cannot do as good as I can do it. So, in the next 5 years, some of those things that I said AI cannot do, maybe AI can do them, or maybe technology we can have. It may not be AI, we may call it something else, right? So, I know we are hearing of AGI, artificial general intelligence, that is able to function at the level of humans. We don't know, but a lot of things are coming up. But at the end of the day, humans will always have their place, because no technology has ever replaced human completely. No technology in history, and every one of them has always been received with that level of the humans are always relevant. In fact, what technology does is that it makes our life better, it makes our life easier. When cars come, it makes transport easier. When fan comes, makes cooling a place easier. When television comes, it makes the media industry better, right? So everything that has been created by humans as technological advancement have always make our life better. The same thing with aircraft. When aircraft came, it makes transport easier. So now that we have artificial intelligence, that one is making almost everything easier. Of course, the first level of tasks that AI will take away is repetitive works. Any work that can be automated, any work that is repetitive, AI will take it over. So if what you do is a repetitive task, something that we can program AI to do it, then you should go and learn something else. So that's why you must stay adaptable, you must stay curious, and you must be willing to continue to improve on yourself. So that's the first disruption, technological disruption. The second disruption that I find very interesting is learning and education are changing. So disruptions in how we learn, disruptions in how we teach. So disruptions in how we learn. There's a lot of disruptions in if even what we learn. So there's disruption in what we learn and how we learn. So disruption in what and how we learn. So that's the second one. And we need to understand that when the days where degrees are no longer the final proof of competence. Before, if you have maybe a bachelor's degree, you have an undergraduate degree, you are you have made it. You have made it. Today is not so. It's not so. Bachelor's degree are still very relevant, but they have become a layer, and now there are more layers to it. There are more layers to it. So the world is changing faster than our curriculums are changing, and many things that we're learning are becoming, they are becoming obsolete, right? So learning has to be continuous, and learning has to be skill based. So we are moving from what did you study to what can you do. I repeat that. We are moving from what did you study to what can you do. I've interacted with people that when they eventually told me what they studied in university, I am completely taken aback because there's no correlation between what they studied and what they can do. And in fact, some of the things they can do, the people that studied that particular course can't even do it as much as they can do it. And that is why learning and adaptability is very important. So the fact that you didn't study a particular course doesn't mean that you tell yourself that, and this is not my field, and this is not what I study. What I study, all this is what I study. Forget what you study, right? Don't limit yourself to what I study. So what can you do? What skills are relevant in the market today? And how can I begin to build myself? What products are relevant today? So the fact that you did a business 10 years ago and you really made a lot of money from it doesn't mean that that business is relevant today. Sometimes the business is relevant, but the model you are using is not relevant again. And there's a need for us to constantly adapt. There's the need for us to constantly evolve. That's why one of the questions I asked earlier is that are there some businesses that are flourishing today and they may fail in the future if they don't adapt, or some businesses that were flourishing some years ago and are dead today? They are failed. They are completely out of business. Yesterday, I was traveling and I was looking at some fuel stations. I was looking at some businesses that I knew that maybe some 10 years ago these were really fantastic businesses that were the talk of the town. But now nobody is hearing about them again because a lot of things have changed, right? So, and I was asking someone. I said the way we have fuel stations today, we have everywhere people selling fuel. Maybe that's the way we have charging stations. Of course, it's happening in some countries faster than others. For us in Africa, it's happening a little slowlier, but we know that it's something that it will eventually happen, right? So we'll begin to have charging stations more than maybe fuel stations. So you will see a lot of fuel stations that you see today that these people made money from for if they don't adapt, if they don't transition and begin to look at what is relevant today and begin to go into those services or those products, then it means that they will be out of business. If they say that all I've always known, for example, imagine someone that says that all I've always known is how to type using typewriter. I think my Nigerian audience can relate with it. So I've always typed using typewriter. And later on, computers came and people no longer type with typewriters again. And now we use computers. So there will always be a lot of transitions. There will always be a lot of disruptions. So now we are having a lot of people complaining that they don't want to go to school, that school is a waste of time, you study courses, and some of these things are not relevant again because there is a lot of disruptions going on. And the problem is not school. The problem is what is taught in school and how those things are being taught. So our curriculum are outdated. The knowledge being passed are no longer relevant. And many people finish the university and find out that the market has moved on from the things that they taught them. And then they find out that they're no longer relevant in the market. So it's important for you to keep learning. I used to tell people that beyond what you're studying in school, are you taking some other courses? Are you learning some skills, especially market relevant skills beyond what you're studying in school? Those things may lead you out of what you study completely, or sometimes they can help you to be more relevant in what you even study. So it doesn't mean that you may not necessarily work with what you study, but some other skills and some other knowledge can give you that advantage. So the market is changing so maybe we should not even go to school again. No, the problem is not the school itself. The problem is what and how the school is being run. So how the school is being run, what we are being taught, and how we are being taught what we're being taught. So a lot of things are changing, and we need to really move, right? So what do you need to do for this? Number one, like I said, for technological disruptions, you must know your advantage. What are the things that what are the skills that technology cannot do currently that gives me my own human advantage? And then number two, what are the things that technology can do that can leverage them to get better? Because you don't compete with technology. Don't compete with technology, because technology is feeding on billions of data, is feeding on a lot of things. So technology has, for example, now, if I say, let us write, let us write an article on, and I give you a random topic, and I give it to AI. Before you even write line one, AI has written 20 lines. It's the same thing with the software engineer. Before the software engineer finish writing 20 lines of code, or maybe 50 lines of code, maybe AI would have written 2,000 lines of code. And so you can't compete with technology in what technology has an advantage. You have to find your advantage as a human. So that's for technology. And for learning disruption, the thing is not to say, I'm not going to go to school, right? It is that number one, you have to build a reading habit, and you have to read what is relevant. You have to read what is future facing. Number two, you have to take online courses. There are a lot of things that you can learn today. From those foundational skills I talked about, sharpen your communication skills, your critical thinking skill, your problem solving skills. Take soft skills, right? Learn about how to research, learn about market psychology, learn about consumer psychology. Just sharpen various skills like that. So learning continues, but how we learn and what we learn is what is changing. So learn industry relevant skills for your industry. What are the skills that are relevant for your industry today? Some people are not adaptable. So if the boss comes and say that, okay, we are using this particular platform to deploy this particular solution, and we're going to change it to this, and you have to take some trainings, you just start complaining that, oh, but this one is working before now. So if it is working, why change it? No, it's not true in the 21st century. It can be working, but it's going out of date very soon. So the fact that it's currently working doesn't mean that it will stay relevant for the next 5 years or 3 years. So even if something is working, we need to keep making adjustments to fit into the current realities. And number four is that seek mentorship. It is important for you to seek mentorship. Seek mentorship across industries, seek mentorship in your industries. Because sometimes some of the changes are so subtle that you may not pick them, but some of the people that you listen to, some of the voices, you begin to hear some of the things that are changing, and you can begin to make adjustments. And the third change that I will look at. Okay, before I look at that, let me go back to that guy that said is a YouTuber, right? My friend, my YouTuber friend. So now I said that there are reasons why it is not advisable to niche down to a platform. And number one, rules change. The platform can change their rules. I've seen people that lose their social media accounts that they have spent years to build. People lose YouTube account because the rules change, and they say that maybe they didn't align with the policy or something. I've seen people lose their Facebook accounts, their Instagram accounts, and they have built maybe thousands and millions of followers. You know how painful that can be, because somebody built their life on a platform. Now, at the end of the day, we will always build followers on social media. We always build followers online, and not every our platforms. Many of us will have to use someone else's platform. But you must ask yourself, what if these platforms go out of extinction today? What would be my relevance? What will happen to my profession? What will happen to my business? If your business is 100% built on TikTok, for example, what if TikTok blocks your accounts? If your entire relevance is built on X, on Twitter, or on Instagram, what happens if they just send you a message and say you violated one community policy, and then they just delete your account? What happens? Have you asked yourself questions like that? So that's why you can't say you're a YouTuber. What's the meaning of that? You can't say you're a YouTuber, right? So YouTube can change rules, and What people are interested in can change. You can lose relevance. You may find out that people are interested in something else now. So people that are following you no longer just take your account seriously. Number three, algorithm can shift. What algorithm is favoring may change. And number four, the entire platform can even disappear. What do you do? The TikToker, the the Instagram influencer becomes irrelevant because the entire Instagram becomes out of date and people are no longer using it. That's something that can happen. It has happened before. It has happened before, and it will still continue to happen. I remember days of to go, right? I remember days of BlackBerry. So we've had a lot of things that have come in the past, and they were like the major thing then, and now we no longer hear them, right? So you have to understand your capacity. You have to understand the product and the service that you offer, and you now need to understand the platforms where you're offering them. So the platforms can change. Sometimes your products can change, your service can change, but what remains is, what is your goal? What is your vision? What are your skills, especially transferable skills? That if I move from today, I am in this profession, I move into another profession, I am still relevant. Your business that you have always loved, you can become so emotional with a particular product or service that you don't understand when changes are happening. So if people are no longer buying it and there is a shift in the market, you have to look at what are people buying now? Where is the market going into? That's why you have capitalists and billionaires. They're always looking for emerging markets. They're always looking for the next thing that people are buying. So even when you're still buying the current one, they are already looking at what's the future of this product we're selling in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. Is it going to be relevant? If if there'll be a product decline, if there'll be saturation, like we say in product life cycle, if there'll be decline after saturation, after maturity saturation, and after saturation decline, after decline, what happens? Do we reinvent this product or do we diversify into something else? So that's why you see a lot of conglomerates, they have a lot of other products and services that they are into to tell you that the market is constantly evolving. Nobody stays emotional and passionate with a particular product or service that they forget that the market can be disrupted and that product or service may no longer be relevant again. So there's a need for us to keep evolving. So, but for that guy, for a content creator like him, I think some things are capacities that can be transferred to other places. For example, storytelling. For example, storytelling, right? So it maybe it can teach on how to be a better gamer or how to win a particular tournament in a particular game, stuff like that. So storytelling is an ability that can be relevant in another space, right? Editing, video editing, right? Some of those things are things that are relevant. Communication skills, marketing skills, right? Audience psychology, knowing what audience wants, branding, how to brand himself. So it can take those particular skills, it can take those abilities and take them to another platform, and it's still relevant. So there's a need for us to understand that market are evolving, and the third disruption is borderless value creation. Borderless value creation. Before, you are mostly limited to people around you or people in your locality that can buy from you. Now, the boundary of geography is gradually being shifted. Is gradually being shifted. It is still there, but it's gradually being shifted. So work is no longer location bound. So you don't have to, of course, people still relocate because of jobs. Of course, because some jobs still require physical location. But many people can stay in location A and work in location B because of technology today. So work is no longer location bound. So you can see someone in Lagos today or Accra or Johannesburg, and the person is working for a company in Japan, a company in Canada, a company in Australia. So, and they don't have to leave, right? Before it was not possible. If you get a job in Japan, you have to go to Japan. Now you can work remotely thanks to technology, right? Value is now global. You can create a value here, you can create a product here, and the product is relevant across the whole world. Things that it's not like it has never been like that, but you need a lot of things in place for your products to be global. Now, it is very, very easy. So you need to think global, you need to build locally, but you can deliver digitally. Think globally, build locally, deliver digitally. That is the framework that you need to understand. So whether you are a freelancer, you are a remote worker, you create digital products, or you are into online services, or you are even creating physical products, you can leverage technology for delivery. You can leverage a lot of things, right? So, for example, if I create products, I must ask myself, what I'm doing today, how can I sell it to the global audience? So you can't say, ah no, because me, I'm not creating videos. So what I'm doing is a physical product that we need it to get to people's hand physically like this. Ask yourself, even if I am selling chin chin, I'm selling clothes, how can I reach the global markets? If you are not asking that question, even if I'm offering a service today, how can I reach global markets? If you are not asking that question, it means that you are not thinking borderless. You are not thinking borderless. Yes, I understand that some services are personal service. For example, dentistry, maybe barbing of hair, maybe making of your hair. You need to physically make hair for people, right? But is there a part of your business that can be global? For example, what if I can make a product that can help people to treat their hair better? Maybe people having issues with maybe dandruff or stuff like that, and I can sell that product globally, right? So there must be a part of my business that can go global. There must be a part of it. So even if what I'm doing requires a physical touch, like making people's hair, you can't make people's hair remotely. You have to have contact with their physical hair, right? But are there can you package courses? Can you make courses on maybe how to treat your hair, how to maintain your hair? Can you make products that helps to enhance people's hair, and then you can sell those products on the global market? There is always a part of your business that can reach the world. So you need to ask yourself, how can I reach global markets? Whether you're a teacher, whether you're an accountant, whether you're a business owner, whether you're a trader, how can I reach the global world? If you're not asking that question, it means that you just want your relevance to stay in your local environments. I remember I was selling a product some years ago, about maybe 7 years ago. I was selling some products and I was telling someone was asking me that, so how do you get your customers? Because this thing you sell, do people in your area, do they buy this kind of thing? I said, who told you that the people in my area are my target audience? Gone are those days when you look at the area and say, when you limit your product idea to what can I sell to people around me? That's not bad because your immediate locality can be your target audience. And you look at what are the peculiar needs in this area and how can I meet some of those needs. But I'm saying that you are not limited to that. So the product I was selling from where I was, in fact, most of my customers are outside the city where I live. So I do with billing to them, logistics, right? So I send it to them. I even sold to people outside the country. I just exported those products to them. And that's the way it is. So people around me don't necessarily need to know what I sell if they are not my target audience. My target audience know what I sell because what I sell is a particular niche product that solves a particular type of problem. So it was later that some of the people around me started knowing what I sell, and most of them, in fact, I hardly have anybody around me that bought. Maybe less than 3% of the people that bought from me are people that I knew personally like this. The remaining like 97% of the people that bought from me were not people that I have met anywhere in the world, thanks to social media. So I was marketing those things on social media and I was sending it to them right physically. So you must ask yourself, how can I reach the global audience in what I'm doing? Because if you're not reaching the global audience, someone else is reaching the global audience. So let's say you're a fashion designer and you're sewing clothes. Look at what is happening with maybe AliExpress, with maybe Konga, with today now we have Temu. We have Temu today. So people that would normally buy from you are now ordering on Temu. So what do you say to that? So the clothes you are selling, even some of our African clothes, some of our traditional clothes, you can go on Temu and see something that is like it, because they can look at our market and see that Our market is there's a huge potential in our market, and the people that are market here don't have that global thinking, and they begin to. So you see someone will go on Temo and order a traditional way, and in less than 14 days it will be delivered to them, because that will save them the stress of I'm going to the market to go and buy this clothes. I'll go and measure in one tailor's place, and then they will tell me that sorry, your clothes is not ready, and then they may even make what is not what I don't like or something like that. So a lot of stress. So if you are a fashion designer, if you are a tailor in that space, you have to ask yourself, how can I also sell clothes today? And I'm reaching someone in Canada, I'm reaching someone in Australia. And thank God these days we have a lot of some of your friends that are traveling abroad. So they may even be your brand ambassador in those countries that they are. You can sew a clothes free of charge FOC or at a discounted price, and send it to someone abroad, and then the person wears it and people begin to ask them, oh, why do you get this clothes? Oh, I have my plug in Nigeria, I have my plug in South Africa, and before you know, your product will begin to go global. So you must have a global thinking. If you are offering a service, or if what you do is something that can be packaged into digital product or digital service, good for you. In fact, you have the market, because for people that sell physical products, they still have to deal with logistics, right? But for people that offer digital products, they don't have logistics problem, right? So that makes it easy. But whether you are selling physical products or digital products, you know that the global market is there, because Temo has come to prove to us that irrespective of what you sell, people order things online that their neighbor is selling, and they bring the products inside and the neighbor did not know. That's the reality of things. That's the reality. It means that the money that should go to the neighbor is going to China, is going to whatever the suppliers are. That's the reality of things. So if another country can collect your money, why don't you think of how to also collect their money? And that's how it is. That's the reality of international trade. You import, you export. There's no country that doesn't export. There's no country that doesn't import, rather, or at least imports. Maybe except a few countries I heard recently that have a close trade agreement with all the rest of the world. But that's not the focus here. But the point is that the majority of the countries, maybe like 95% or above 95%, import and export. So the problem is not that you are importing. The problem is that you're not exporting too. So everyone here that is listening to this must ask yourself, what can I export? Because you are importing now. You are importing. There's no way you are not importing. You are buying something. I'm not saying you necessarily import directly. You probably buy something that was imported. Maybe the product itself was imported, or the skill that was used was imported, or part of the raw materials that was used to produce that thing was imported. So either way, you are importing directly or indirectly. The question is, are you also exporting? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. So there are 4 commitments that we need to make from this conversation. Number 1 is that you have to stay curious. You have to stay curious. You must be asking questions regularly. What is going on in my industry? What is going on in the world? And how does this affect our life? How does it affect how we work? How does it affect how we learn? For example, as a teacher, you are limited to the classroom, to the physical people you can impact. Now you have a global audience. We have people maybe in Kenya that have students in other countries. Even universities now are introducing online degrees, because many people are feeling like, why should I travel? Why should I travel several continents, or why should I travel countries because I want to study in your university? Can I study remotely? Those are things that are happening today. So you have to stay curious. What is happening in my industry? What is happening in my space? Right. Number 2 is that you must stay adaptable. Gone are the days of this was how we were doing it in 1984. Things are changing so fast. And the interesting thing is that how long it takes for change to happen is also reducing. Some products that were relevant for 5 years before they become out of date, now in 3 months they're out of date. So how long it's taking for change to happen is also changing. So changes are happening so fast that sometimes people can't keep up. So you have to stay adaptable. You can't become so emotionally connected to a platform or to an industry or to a particular niche that you're not ready to adapt or ready to change when there's a change upon you. So there's a need for that. Number three is that you must build capacities. You have to keep learning. You have to keep relearning. You have to keep on learning. You can learn something 2 months ago and it's already outdated. Can you update what you learn? You have to keep learning. You have to keep building capacity. And especially the foundational capacities, communication, ability to make research, ability to understand sales and marketing. I strongly believe that no matter what you do, you will always need to understand sales and marketing, whether you're a business professional, a career professional, a business owner, or even an investor. You will need to understand. You need to understand sales. You need to understand marketing because it helps you in making decisions. Critical thinking, problem solving, teamwork, ability to work with teams, right? Especially both physically and digitally. Now, cross-cultural understanding is also becoming a thing that you must be able to work with people from across different culture. Gone are the days when all the people in your team are maybe Nigerian or they are Canadian or they are people in the UK. Now you can have a team of 5 people and all of them are from different continents. One person is from America, one person is from Asia, one person is from Africa, one person is from Europe, one person is from Australia, the Oceania. And so you can have people across various time zones, various skills, various culture, right? So some things that you will see as a joke, that person may not see it as a joke because they are not from the same culture with you. So cultural diversity, ability to adapt with people from different culture is another strong skill that people need to build today, right? So problem solving. And number four, stay digitally fluent. Stay digitally fluent. I say number one, stay curious. Number two, stay adaptable. Number three, stay digitally fluent. Number four, build capacity. So those four are my take home for you, or what I want to leave you with today. So disruptions is not going to slow down. In fact, it's going to become more. We're going to have more disruptions in the years to come. So you have to tighten your seatbelt and be ready for it. So it's not about whether disruptions will happen. So the question is, are you building something that can withstand disruption? Number one, disruption from technology. Number two, disruption in what and how we learn. Number three, disruption in even how we reach the market and the market that is available to us. You can be conquering a market today and a competitor come from another country and they take your entire audience away. Because you are not thinking global, that person is thinking of how to expand their own reach and they capture your target audience. They capture your client or your customer. People are losing jobs now because the company employed someone else remotely that is from another country that was better than the other guy. So, which means that it's a reality that is upon us, right? So some contracts, some businesses are being taken over by people from other countries. So you must not just consume and import from other countries. You must also think of how to export to other countries because international trade is a reality. You import, you export. You import products, you import ideas, you import even our dress style. There are some of the things that we wear in Africa today that they are not African. In the same vein, we should see African wears. Of course, it's already happening. We should see Africa wears in some other countries, and it is as acceptable as their own ways are acceptable in our land. And those are the things that people in the creatives should be thinking about. People in the fashion industry, right? So irrespective of the industry where you are, there is a way things are going on, and you must start preparing yourself for it. Okay, I think I will just stop here. So I'll just stop here. So it's not just about job titles. It's not about I'm a this, I'm a that. It is about what are the skills that you have and how relevant will be your skills in the future. I don't know if anyone has any question. If anyone has any question, let me see if there's any question from the online audience. Any question? Any question? Any question? Okay, any question? Any question? And of course, this video will be uploaded, so you can ask your question in the comment section also. You can ask your question. So if you are watching this, maybe after the live program, if you're not able to watch it real time, you can drop your question in the comment section and it will be attended to. All right. So Any question? Any question? I'll just wait for a few more seconds, and you can put what you learned to in the comment section. Let me know your takeaway today. What's your major take home? What are you going to do with what you learned today? How is it going to affect the way you think? How is it going to affect the way you learn, the way you work, the way you receive information, the way you pass information, the way you do business, the way you approach learning, the way you approach your career, your business? How is it going to affect you? So those are the things that I expect to see from us. Okay, thank you very much. I'll just stop here. And this is a monthly conversation. It happens every month. This is for June 2026. And the previous ones are also uploaded on this channel. So, and this is brought to you by the Telos community. So the Telos community is a community of people that are a community of young professionals that are grounded and are building strong relevance in the marketplace, right? So we have discussions about marketplace relevance. We have discussions about around around marriages and relationships also, because we believe that you can't be so strong in the marketplace and you don't have a strong foundation at home. And of course, our faith too. Everything we do is from a faith-based lens. We believe in God, we believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, and we believe that everything we do stem from all of those things. So if you like to be a part of the community, you can drop a message in the comment section also. I'll take you up on how to go about that. Thank you very much, everyone, and see you next month. Thank you very much.